So how are we going to stack the odds in your favour in 2020? One of the best places to start is making sure you're actually targeting your ideal customers rather than wasting time and money with scattergun approaches where you spend unnecessarily targeting a huge audience, few of whom will ever actually buy from you. I'm frequently surprised when I start talking with a business owner only to discover that they don't have a clear understanding of who exactly their ideal customers are, the messaging that will capture their attention, the type of offer that will most appeal to them, nor a clear understanding of how to actually target them in the first place. One of the best analogies I can draw is going fishing, hence my current surroundings. There is a common saying in fishing that 10% of the fishermen catch 90% of the fish. Why? For starters, good fishermen know exactly what species they're targeting and where they are going to target them. They don't just haphazardly throw out a line and expect to catch a fish. They already know the time, the tide, the place, and the specific bait they'll be using to give themselves the best chance of catching a truckload of really big fish. So when the time actually comes for them to get out and drop a line, they're already weighed the odds significantly in their favour, and you can do it in your business too. So how do you know exactly who your ideal target customer is? We'll be adding a link on this post that shares a comprehensive guide for getting crystal clear on exactly who your ideal customers are. In short, you need to think about who the people are that are most likely to buy your product, ideally in numbers, and the more specific you can be, the easier it is for you to target them. Let's say, for instance, you're a business broker and in the last couple of years you've niched down and you've sold half a dozen medical practices in addition to a bunch of other sales. You like working in this sector and the commissions are great, so what do? You ideally want to target the partners and directors, owners and decision makers of medical practices, ideally starting in your close proximity where you can be really personally connected and then spread the net out wider as you go. So how do you target them without wasting your time cold calling them and getting shut out by their gatekeepers? The best approach for targeting these exact people will be using a LinkedIn campaign, but rest assured there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. For starters, you have to get your targeting just right and your messaging needs to be spot on so you don't damage your connections before you start. And you should consider throwing the right bait out there, sharing really useful information on preparing your medical practice for sales, case studies on successful stories in your arena, tips and ideas on things to look out for, how to value your medical practice, the list goes on. Let's say you've got a conveyancing business that helps people that are buying and selling property to make sure the legals on their transactions work in their favour. As a conveyancer, you've got a couple of options. You might decide to go directly after the buyers and sellers, in which case you could set up a Google Ads, YouTube Ads campaign with retargeting to capture the people who are genuinely searching for a conveyancer in their area right now. Or if you choose to develop a referral network of real estate agents, you might start with a LinkedIn campaign to build your network of agents. A builder or property marketer that helps people get into their first and second home would run a Facebook and Instagram ad campaign specifically targeting first and second home buyers and present them with an offer that incentivizes them to share their details and start the conversation. Or perhaps you're a consultant that helps business owners. I'm thinking of a client of ours right now named Aaron, who runs an exceptional consulting business that helps nurture the mental health of staff in big organizations. When we first started talking with him, he was struggling to get past the gatekeepers to talk with the HR managers, executives, partners and directors of Australia's blue chip business elite. Even though he had an exceptional service that would be of profound benefit to many of these organisations, we ended up guiding him with a LinkedIn training program to teach him the skills so he could connect and engage with his exact target audience under his own steam. And now his business is flying. So how do you know how to target your ideal customers? I've had the luxury of 20 years experience working in brand and marketing space, consulting across a diverse range of industries and sectors. If you ever want some clear, concise advice, be sure to reach out and connect with a message and I'll be happy to share some recommendations. As a general rule, if you run a B2B business where your ideal customers are other businesses, if you're not looking at LinkedIn right now and using it to its full capacity, chances are you're missing out on business. I will use the analogy of a professional fisherman to LinkedIn. A professional fisherman doesn't just know exactly where they're going to be targeting the species that they're going after that day. They'll be using a net to spread around all the fish in the area with a specific size opening in the net mesh so they can capture all the fish of a certain size in bulk and let the rest pass through. With LinkedIn, let's say you have a SaaS, a software as a service company for accountants, and you want to go after accountancy firms with say $1.5 million turnover plus. you can literally target all the businesses with 10 or more employees, connecting with the partners, directors and owners of these accounting firms in the areas that you want to chase them in, and start direct conversations with these exact people with no gatekeepers in between. It just comes down to knowing how to target that specific audience on LinkedIn, how to get them off the LinkedIn platform and into direct discussions that can lead to a sale. If you run a B2C business where your customers are consumers, there is a diverse selection of digital and traditional advertising platforms that you can be harnessing to drive your ideal customers directly to your door, both online and in store. And as I mentioned before, the bigger the value of the sale, the more specific you need to be. If I'm fishing and I'm targeting really big reef fish, I'm using specialised rods and reels with the ideal bait for targeting that specific species of fish to get them to bite. Let's use the example of the builder or real estate project marketer again. Targeting first and second home buyers, you can run a Facebook ad campaign that targets people that are demonstrating certain behaviours and interests which provide an indication that they could be suitable candidates to buy their first or second home. It might be people that are looking at realestate.com.au, searching for mortgage brokers and the first home buyers grant online. We can literally be that specific, and for bait, I might decide to use a deposit booster or a furniture package or some other incentivizing offer in my advertising to hook these ideal buyers so I can capture their details and start the conversation on the way to selling them a property. The important thing I want for you is to make sure that you are in the 10% of businesses that are capturing 90% of the trade. And this all starts because they clearly understand who they are targeting. Remember to leave a comment. I want it now if you want our ultimate guide to nailing your ideal customer. And feel free to leave a comment if you would like to get a clearer understanding of exactly how to target your ideal customers. And be sure to stay tuned to our next post where we'll be sharing insights into how to build a platinum sales pipeline so you never have to worry about where your next lead will be coming from in 2020. Have a cracking day.